Son?
Hamlet?
Dad? Azalea?
Hello people on the internet, I'm back with a part 2 video since Fairly Odd Parents A New Wish Season 1 has wrapped up. I wasn't exactly planning to do a follow-up video, but I've seen a bunch of other people doing it, so I thought, why not? This time I restrained myself and didn't watch the other reviews in hopes that I don't repeat the same points as everyone. And last time I avoided saying the same points as everyone, which kinda ruined the video because I didn't have much else to say. I probably still ended up spouting a bunch of the same stuff as others, but this time I'm not watching others' videos so that if I do say the same stuff, I don't feel stupid until I've ended up watching theirs after. I don't really comment on much other than cameos in the finale, so the rest is kinda just a recap. I'm a bit late again with making a video, but life kinda keeps blowing up and it's kinda hard to find the motivation to write scripts or do anything when you only have 1 or 2 free days a week. It's the same this week. I kinda just ended up biting the bullet because I freaked out and thought it's been 2 weeks since I've uploaded, I'm probably gonna die. I did try to keep attention by uploading shorts, but they were just clips from my videos and it didn't really feel like me. I might keep up with them, but who knows? Short life update out of the way, I should probably start the video.
Sorry we're late! We're from corporate!
Which corporate?
You're fired!
So, to start, I hope to God Paramount doesn't snipe me for like a week with whatever clips I use. Most of the clips I found so far are bad quality and have the Nick logo smudged into them. Hopefully that keeps the copyright dragon at bay, because last time I went to the effort of finding good quality clips and that may have done me in. So, to start the video for real, I made my first video during the batch of the first episodes, so there were a few I missed. The only real thing I can think that happened of note is that Hazel befriended her rival, and the Cookie Fairy came back and took Cosmo, Wanda and Hazel to court. They actually lost the case until Cookie's scarf fox thing spoke out and was like, Cookie is a total hag, we should kill her. It was a really great and hilarious episode. My only complaint is they made it 11 minutes long instead of a 22-minute episode. This was the mid-season finale too, so everything felt really rushed. I loved the first half of the season. Could be a little goofy at times, fast as well like I just mentioned, but other than that, I don't really have any problems and love it. Only real problem I did have was sometimes there's a problem and Hazel can just unwish it, but she doesn't until she decides she does. It kind of just drags out the episode. Some of the later episodes will have something like there's certain rules to the wish where they said they have to finish a game or Cosmo and Wanda just lose their wands, which is a good way to avoid people saying why can't Hazel just unwish it, but at times it does feel forced, like when rock monsters just steal the wands. Either way, yeah, loved the first half.
Order in the court!
I'll have a cheeseburger and a large fry. You hungry, sweetie? The only thing I'm hungry for is justice.
Part 2 of Season 1 opens with a 22-minute episode, Lost and Founders Day. I get the feeling this was supposed to be the mid-season finale, especially with the cliffhanger. All episode, Dev and his dad have been handing out these smart watches that can do anything but tell the time. And because Dev's a good kid now, he just wants to help them. He thinks he's helping them. Unfortunately, all Dale sees is dollar signs, and that's all these watches see too. They're tracking kids' spendings and stuff and seeing what they want. This means that Hazel catches the attention of Dale because obviously she's not really buying anything because she can wish for everything. He starts calling Hazel the anomaly and is researching her. Dev gets a bit jealous and blah blah blah. But you know, since he's a good kid, he decides he should stop Hazel from being tracked and wants to save her so that she doesn't get caught, because who knows what Dale would do to her. Anyway, in all the commotion, Dev manages to ruin the festival, Hazel gets mad at him, and he ends up getting a fairy godparent.
I'm so miserable. Hey kid, I'm Pooh. Well, at least I was. I changed my name to Perry.
This ends up being Poof, who has changed his name to Perry. Probably not the in-universe reason, but they changed his name because Poof is a slur, apparently, in some countries. But it's not really, it's just spelt the same, because Poof isn't the slur. It is spelt the same, but it's pronounced differently. Obviously, I'm not gonna pronounce it here. I don't know if that would do anything, but safer not to say it. Anyway, yeah, the return of Perry, you would have expected this to be the mid-season break, especially being a 22-minute episode. But I also kind of get, in today's world, people struggle to wait, especially when most shows drop all at once. May not have been a good idea to make people wait a few months just to see Perry again after a cliffhanger. Then we got cameos from AJ and Crocker. These are probably the least impactful and least memorable cameos, which is sad because they literally work with Hazel's dad, AJ being the boss. I mean, Crocker is just Crocker, but these cameos just don't really feel like they needed to be here. I don't know if there's an in-universe answer, but I feel like Dale or Doug probably managed to take over Dimsdale and rename it Dimmadelphia when it became a city, because it feels like nearly everyone lives here. And I doubt everyone's moved to the city feeling all alone. Cosmo, Wanda, AJ, Crocker, Vicky. Alright, I haven't mentioned her yet, but there's just so many people who apparently live in this city. Like, they haven't all moved here. It has to have been built around them. Anyway, in Battle for the Dimsonian, I have probably butchered that. I'm so sorry. I tried to read it like 8 times. It just doesn't sound right. Anyway, Hazel and her fairies discover Dev and Perry, and it's all sunshine and rainbows for now. A Date to Remember features the return of Cupid, and he's become a very different character. I do kind of prefer the change, compared to a character like Father Time, who is just ugly now. I mean, Cupid's ugly, but it's like a good ugly. You know what I mean? Anyway, A Date to Remember is your run-of-the-mill your parents never met story, and now they're not gonna be together. Without the Back to the Future consequences, because they haven't actually gone back in time, they've just lost their memories, so Hazel's not gonna cease to exist or anything. Next is Lost in Fairy World, and it features Dev and Hazel getting lost in Fairy World. As you can tell, I'm a master at recapping things. So yeah, them and their fairies are hanging out in the apartment, and Dev sees Fairy World and is like, I want to go there. He's told no, and he's like, well, I'm gonna break the rules. After they get there, he steals Perry's wand and decides to take him and Hazel on his own personal tour of Fairy World. They have a bunch of fun. They were told absolutely not to go to the Hocus Pocus. I hope I said that right. When Hazel asks him to unwish everything, they end up there because, they wished to go to Fairy World. They meet the Unwished Dragon, who obviously eats unwishes, so he tries to eat them until he finds out they're god kids. The Treble with Rivals, which I thought was going to be a Dev episode because rival, is very uneventful, except Hazel's brother turns up at the end. The only other thing of note to happen is we're introduced to a new fairy, the Music Fairy, and I absolutely hated her. She was annoying. I can't put my finger on it, I just hate her. Next episode, Hazel gets jealous of her brother because he has new friends. And, it's not like she has new friends. She's a bit of a hypocrite. But, character flaws are fine, it's not like it's badly written. The next episode was also uneventful, but it was that episode I mentioned where Cosmo and Wanda's wands got stolen, so I thought I'd bring it up again. Also, the episode ends with Dev getting mad at Perry, so probably worth a mention. The next episode, Operation Birthday Takeback, is a 22-minute episode, and it features the return of Vicky. I think this is a standout episode for most people. Vicky remains unchanged except for bags under her eyes, and I think that did upset a lot of people, but a lot of people also really liked it, so who knows. Cosmo and Wanda finally stand up to Vicky. They're like, this is for Timmy, and they're like, hang on, who the hell's Timmy? We mean Dev. They end up seeing that Dale is researching Hazel, and they're like, hey, why don't we just spell it out for him? So they write all this stuff like, we're fairies, we're the neighbours, we grant Hazel's wishes, this is Fairy World, here's how you take it over. Perry obviously calls them out. They do get a bit dumb this back half of the season. I get they're two halves of a whole idiot, but it does get taken a bit far. Not really show ruining, but still annoying. I mean, in the cookie episode, Cosmo literally outed himself to humans, but the humans just thought he was an idiot, so they ignored him. And it was justified there because it was easily made up. Here, Dev gets jealous of Hazel and crosses everything out so that Dale can't see it. But this is because he's jealous of Hazel at the moment and he wishes that Perry would leave him alone. Best of Luck sees Perry quit and the return of Foop, now called IREP because of the name change. He never liked the name Foop anyway, but now he seems mad that he had to change his name. He says it's because it's harder to say, but who's really saying their own name that much that they have a problem with it? Anyway, he becomes Dev's anti-godparent because of a loophole. There's a bit of a fight, but because it's a short episode, Jorgen Nelly immediately steps in, gets rid of Foop, IREP, same thing, and is like, here's Perry back, because he never put in his 2 weeks. Episode ends with Dev saying he wants to research anti-fairies, and then blah blah blah, he doesn't appear much, and when he does, he's just mean again. And really, not anything of note really happens. The Tooth Fairy reappears, it's not all that exciting, and Hazel gets an anti-fairy because she becomes a fairy, which people I've seen making a big deal about, but I don't really see it. It's a 1 episode thing, it's not like it was this huge grand reveal and she would be back. I was more interested in the episodes that advanced the plot or did something important. There's like an episode where Hazel goes through fairy puberty and spaghetti comes out of her armpits. I mean, it was an okay episode, not bad. I'm sure someone enjoys these, but they're not my cup of tea. But you know, show's not really made for me, so I don't know if I can judge.
Cosmo and Wanda, you will serve 10,000 years in fairy jail.
No! Get your hands off of me! I'm not going back!
So, here we are. The finale. Hazel has almost made 1 million wishes, never done before, except for that one time. Just as Hazel is about to make her wish, Cosmo and Wanda lose their magic, so Hazel kills them for lying to her. Okay, not quite. They use Cosmo and Wanda's apartment to get to Fairy World without magic. They get there to find a blue sky, orange rainbows, and a big blue wand. It looks more black, but it has a blue glow, so let's stick with that. Dev appears and reveals he researched anti-fairies and took over Fairy World off-screen, which I'm glad we get an explanation, but it's a 22-minute episode. They could have found the time. Or, you know, they could have dedicated more episodes to the finale. I get they have to pitch episodes and aren't gonna get everything they want, but at some point there is a point for setup. You can do setup in the episodes that don't really do much. The only real setup was him saying he wanted to research them, and then he didn't appear, and then he had already taken over off-screen. He captures Cosmo and Wanda and sends Hazel back to Earth. Cosmo and Wanda find themselves up against their anti-counterparts. Nice to see them reappear, but they felt more like comedic relief here, while IREP did all the work. I mean, in the original series, Anti-Wanda was always comedic relief. And I guess when Foop was born, it was implied he kinda took over. Well, less took over, more of a threat, so they kinda probably bowed down to him at some point. Anti-Cosmo was still pretty condescending, but he used a dictionary to make Cosmo confused, and then Anti-Wanda turned it upside down to make Wanda go nuts. Funny moments, but they don't really feel like something you'd find in a finale, especially the way they hyped this show up. The part that did get me and felt in character was when Dev called Wanda Pam and it really irked her. It's moments like that that work. They feel more character driven than just haha, here funny joke, character dumb. Back on Earth, Hazel recruits her brother and her friends, and they reveal they knew something was up with her because of all the weird stuff that had happened to them, and when Dev revealed he took over Fairy World, they put the pieces together. Dev also gave every kid an anti-fairy godparent, which has led to rule-free wishes everywhere. At the beginning of the series, I had wondered why the apartment was connected to Fairy World, but Hazel takes her friends and brother to that apartment so they can get there. This is the second time in the episode they've needed to get to Fairy World without magic, so it does make sense that they've done this. It was set up. Which I like this, it's nice to see stuff like that be important. I just thought they did it for no reason. Anyway, Hazel ends up calling all her old wishes so that they can help in the fight to get to the big wand. They eventually reach Irep and Dev, and it's revealed they captured Perry off screen and now he's going into magical backup, which is something from the original series. With how seriously they want you to take it here though, it's weird how goofy it is. Like in the original series it was goofy, but they could come back from it. Here it was implied if it happens, they're gone forever. There was literally an episode with a memoriam to fairies who died of this. There's also a moment where Dev dances to a remix of his dad saying he's proud of him, which... not really liking the jokes in this finale. I get Fairly Odd Parents has never really been the best with jokes, but with how the first episode, second episode, and the Vicky episode went this season, I really thought the finale would match those. Anyway, Irep and Dale start working together instead, and Dev feels left out, so he gives Cosmo and Wanda the key to get out, but then they start to go into magical backup, so Hazel has to be quick. Obviously she is quick enough and wins, and then Dev loses his memories and Perry. It's implied he never really wanted to hurt anyone, he's just a misguided kid, but then Wanda's like, I feel like that's deep down, which really feels like it hurts the moment, and maybe a bad sign for his character in the future. I thought he would probably be fully redeemed by the end of the season. But with that comment from Wanda and the fact that his memories were erased, I really don't have hope for him in the future. Hazel finally gets to have her rule-free wish, and after seeing all the danger of rule-free wishing with the anti-fairies, she decides she doesn't want to have it. Just kidding, she still takes the wish. I really thought after everything that happened, there would have been a moment where she realised maybe wishes need rules and she decided not to have it. Anyway, she wishes for her brother and friends to keep their memories and know about fairies forever. I really thought it would have made more sense if she just didn't use the wish. Or Perry dies and she's forced to use the wish to bring him back. Something like that. Anyway, yeah, that's a wrap on season 1. The story episodes were definitely the better ones. The finale did fall a little flat for me. It really felt like they just saved the worst jokes for the finale. I mean, I enjoyed the message and the ideas of it, but it just wasn't much fun to watch compared to the other episodes, like the Vicky one or the first episode.
I've never met a princess that was a problem.
I've never met a princess that wasn't a problem.
I do hope the show gets a season 2. I enjoyed a majority of it, and I could watch the rest. Some episodes just weren't my cup of tea. Compared to other revivals and spin-offs of shows, we're definitely winning with this one. I mean, even just later seasons of the original show, or the original revival, we're definitely winning. Funny thing, it seems definitely like Fairly Odder is not canon, which is a good thing. It's mentioned that Timmy was the fairy's last god kid, and Crocker doesn't seem like he's been in magical prison for years, which, you know, that was the weird cliffhanger they had there. So it's good that that show is definitely dead and never being touched. I do recommend A New Wish. It's pretty peak. I mean, I had trouble with a few episodes, but that comes down to personal taste, and the experience was still, overall, a good one. A few episodes being misses for me doesn't sour the quality. I mean, I had problems with the original series at times in its early run. That doesn't mean the original series was bad, because a few episodes weren't my favourite. And with that, we're done. What did you guys think of the back half of season 1? Did you love it? Hate it? Were you mixed like me? Let me know in the comments, and I'll see you next time. Whenever that is.